Welcome, everybody, to the Mill Creek Building. We're good. To the Mill Creek Municipal Building and the monthly Planning Committee meeting. At this time, I call the meeting to March 3rd, 2026 to order. Everybody rise and please do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody can please be sure they sign the attendance sheet located near the rear door. Next, I would like to introduce you to the members of the Planning Committee and our support staff. Ray Reed, Dave Fugate. Dave? Good job. Okay, we're getting there. Doug Prozan right next to me. Gene Strohmeyer, Anthony Sitter, and we have Denise Pizarro at the end. And behind me, we have Julie Maggio, and then Matt Puzz, Matt Waldinger, and Jennifer Aniason, the Township Counselor. Before we begin, I'd like to call a motion to accept the minutes of last month's meeting as written.
So moved. Second.
The Mill Creek Planning Commission is a recommending body that hears testimony, asks and answers questions, deliberates, and passes our recommendation onto the Mill Creek supervisors who make the final decisions on the issues brought before us. The subdivision and/or land development and conditional use discussed tonight, if acted upon by the Planning Committee, will be considered by the Township supervisors at the meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Township Assembly Building. In order to keep a smooth flow of information and not have this meeting run unnecessarily long, I would ask that everyone wishing to speak either for or against an issue to please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. I may also say that if a point has been made by a speaker and there are others who share that view, it is not necessary for them to all be recognized and speak, as the commission will consider all testimonies. All right, let's start with the subdivision and land development. A is a replot of a survey for John B. Roslyn and Roslyn A. Bergeron? Okay. A subdivision plan, a minor subdivision plan to show the replot of two existing parcels, Lot A and Lot B, known as 4433 Asbury Road, with no changes to the property lines or acreage along the north line of Asbury Road, west of Neptune Street in tract 311. Is anybody here to speak on their behalf?
Good evening, Mike Sanford. I'm the surveyor that prepared the plan. My address is 4721 Atlantic Avenue. And you did a nice job explaining the plan. It's a replot, but we're not changing the lots. We're not changing property lines. We're not really changing any dimensions. Really, the plan is being replotted to remove a building line. Basically, the ordinance changed, and the township used to require average setback. That's what they used to. But now they no longer require that. So we're just replotting the plan to be consistent with the ordinance to remove the building line. That's the only change.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Great. The second item, subdivision plan for McDonald's USA LLC.
Mr. Chairman, you had somebody that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't notice you.
I can understand what he said.
Okay.
I was not aware of that change in the ordinance. I'm Dario Cipriani, 4463 Asbury Road. I hope you folks had the opportunity to take a drive by the lot in question. and noticed on that side of Asbury Road, the beautiful front yards, starting all the way from the Asbury Park building all the way up that side of the road, all with decent setbacks. I'm not quite sure where the new property line is going to be, but if you move it forward any farther than what originally was planned, which was bad enough, there's nobody in this room going to be impacted more than my wife and I, because this home will sit directly in front of my front windows. And I ask you to take the opportunity to take a look at what Mr. Timpano did to that property without a permit. Last April of '24, he took a backhoe in there and started grading out a driveway and started tearing down trees. About a dozen of the stumps still remain. The pile of debris, 2 piles of debris still remain. He tried to burn some of the evidence without a burn permit. He lied to me about that, and he lied to me that he had a permit to do the driveway. So now we're going to approve a plan where he gets to move his house more into the quote-unquote watershed, because I'm not an engineer, but I know when I see standing water after a storm, and there's a lot of water in there, and there's a natural stream on the north side, northwest side of that property that runs on their Asbury Road. So I ask you, if you were in my position, what would you do? You know, there's maybe a diminution in value. I doubt it. But aesthetically, that's kind of important to me. And it's kind of important to my wife. We've been there 30 years and had a beautiful front yard, nature, and now it's a trash heap, to be honest with you. And I can't even begin to imagine what's going to happen. When the Bergeron subdivided that property, I spoke at this same meeting and said, you know, you really think maybe somebody would build a house there? I've been told by a number of people that it's a non-buildable lot, that you have to put the house on stilts. I don't know enough about it to say yay or nay, but I'm asking you, what would you do if you were in my position? I'm going to put up a fuss. If you approve this, I am going to put up a fuss. I'll tell you that right up front. Thank you.
Anybody else?
In regards to his comments about not having a permit.
Name.
I'm Vincent Timpano. I did get a permit for a driveway. That should be on record. I didn't proceed that way because I was in the process of getting a donation for wetlands, which I have a copy of. The property does have wetlands, would be on the west side of the property. I'm sorry, east side of the property. It's all delineated, it's mitigated. There was no mitigation necessary for where I'm going to plot the house. And it's a official delineation done by a wetland specialist. In terms of him saying that we're destroying the property, et cetera, we did clear the property. We did start burning after I called Mill Creek Township and they said I was allowed to burn. Apparently because of the size of the fire, they asked me to get a permit next time. And I talked to the fire inspector about that. So that stopped, that ceased immediately. The property is dry. I've owned that property for 20 years. I had permits to build 20 years ago. Mill Creek Township issued me permits, I did not build. So at this point, we're moving the property up to about 106 feet off of the road, which is in coordination with other homes that aren't set back 200 feet. There's some homes that are 50 feet, they're all different setbacks. So I'm not doing anything different than anyone else has done on that part of Asbury Road.
Did you say you're going to set it back 106?
106 feet,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
I have a plot, if you guys would like to see it, of what proposal is. Do you want renderings of the house?
No.
Okay. It's going to be a
Doug
very-
would like
Just
to.
want to see what you've got.
This is the,
106 driveway on the side.
yeah, this is the elevation.
Can you see it?
And this is, Mike Sanford prepared this.
Okay, okay, you can have that back.
Anyone else want?
Where's the property line?
Right. 106, 105.8.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, property line on the side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not on there. It's, okay.
If you look at that now.
So you're tight to the, fairly tight to the, more on the right side. As
Yeah.
I'm looking at the right side of the wall.
Yeah, well,
I mean-
we're making sure that we're inside. Okay. It's about a 2,800 square foot home. It's going to add to the value of the whole neighborhood. So this is going to be a beautiful home. It'll be beautiful landscape. This area will be cleaned up to the point that I can clean it up.
That's the wetland area.
Yeah, I can, I've talked to DEP, and they said you can go in there and clean it up, cut trees down, you can basically do whatever you want, other than uproot ground, is my understanding. They've been overseeing this whole thing to help me through this.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to say?
Can I see that again, please?
You said as far as the DEP goes, you're allowed to cut, but not, you can't disturb the ground.
Correct.
Okay.
I can cut trees down, I can pull out the trees that have fallen,
Yeah,
which I intend on doing. I can't disturb the ground.
on the wetland area.
On the wetland area. In terms of where the house is going, it's not wetlands.
Those stumps that are still existing now, are they on the wetland area?
No, no. The only reason they're still there is because I was getting to this next phase of building, so those are going to obviously be removed and cleaned up, and,
Great.
yeah, it's expensive. It's not going to be cheap. It's going to par with the homes that are there.
What's the distance from the house to the east building line?
Is he talking this house? Do you want to know this distance?
Where, no, where your figure was before.
This way?
On this rendering here,
From here to here?
Mike, on this rendering here, what's the distance from the house to the property line?
From here to here?
The new house? Oh, this, from here to here. This is 50 feet here, so I would estimate 75.
To the property line or to the other house?
Property line,
To their front door, it's got to be at least 100 feet.
75 to 100, that's an estimate.
No.
No, from the house to the
Come here,
end
Mike.
of the property line. Look at this drawing. That you drew. This distance right here.
From here to here?
Yeah, what is that distance?
It says 7 feet right there.
Oh, is that what that
Is that what that is? Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
I guess that's 7 feet.
7 foot.
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Mike, is that appropriate to the building up that main road, 7 foot clearance on the side of the house?
Yeah.
Like 7 foot, 14 foot?
Yeah, that's-
Everywhere else.
Do you have any other questions?
Any other questions?
I have a question of maybe for staff input on this, and then legal. Would we be able to make a recommendation with a condition, since basically you have a house, it's not going to be 30 feet off at the front. I understand why you're maybe recommending to take that building line, which is further back now. But can we make a recommendation to the supervisors to set a building line of 100 feet? So that would give some protection to the Ciprianis, but also allow you to continue, since it sounds like you're
It's going to be over,
anyway.
it's going to be over 100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, to my understanding, and I'll let Attorney Herniason correct me if I'm wrong, but according to the subdivision land development ordinance and the municipality's planning code, you cannot place conditions on the approval of a subdivision or a land development. So, technically, no. you have to approve what's in front of you unless the applicant were to propose something different.
We ran into that last week.
But we
Well,
did
last
it
month.
by doing a recommendation rather than condition. We were
Go
skillful.
ahead.
We were skillful.
I'm not an attorney, but I'd like to offer a rebuttal to those remarks. I asked you to go see Jean Clement, talk to Jean Clement. My wife marched down to his office and told him what was going on in our property, what this gentleman did on an April day, drove that backhoe intending to make a driveway, tore down some trees, stump included, but left at least 10 or 12 stumps still there. And I asked Vince, with all due respect, why did it take you 20 years to build? You couldn't find somebody to put on paper what you really wanted to see? No, you couldn't, huh? So you made your personal choice. Why move the property line then? Why does he have to move it forward? Because it's too wet back there. He doesn't have enough room anywhere else on the property. And I'm hoping that we look at that, whatever he submitted, closely. Because if it's 1 inch interfering with my property, I will put up more of a fuss. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Cipriani, where is your house located exactly on this map?
I believe this is my swimming pool here. Here's my house right here. So I don't care where you move it on this property line, I'm going to be looking right at it. And I'm up above, as of now, I'm above him. Unless he's going to bury a lot of property, I'm going to be up above him looking straight down at it. This is my house right here.
Eric Dale, 4433 Asbury, adjoining property. I have two questions. One is, when was the setback line adjusted? And therefore, we no longer have the same setback line as we did when I added a garage to my property and had to go through a lot of teeny tiny measurements to make sure I could get it to fit that setback line. This was in 2024. I mean, it was really difficult. 2024. 2004. Thank you. My wife corrects me. That's one question. The other question has to do with some disregard on the part of the Mill Creek interest in trying to collect taxes on wetlands. Everybody knew it was wetlands. It should never have been buildable. And this issue has been raised in the past. The reason he has to build where he's building is that behind him is a 1 to 1.5 acre, average 7 foot deep pond, the bottom of which is above his house, probably above its roof. And that's, I don't know if it's a good idea to allow anybody to build under those circumstances. We have enough issues with that in places like California and others. These dams, this is a clay dam. It's now on his property and he's supposed to maintain it, and I'm sure this will encourage him. I'm not arguing about that. But I think those are concerns that Mill Creek should look at. It's a disaster waiting to happen. If you come to that property after a reasonable thunderstorm in the summertime, that little creek that you see going along between the two properties, between my property and his, and then turning in front of his property where he's going to be building and going to the street, which is often jammed up with limbs and leaves to try to get under the street, that runs like more than I've ever seen some of the creeks around here run. So these are just, in general, we have problems with flooding in Mill Creek. shouldn't these be addressed before we start making some of these adjustments?
Thank you.
And where is your property?
It's right next door.
We're the other side.
Yeah, I'm on the west side. When I went to add the garage, I had to follow a setback line that was right across here. And it ran right in front of my garage. I have to have it 7 feet behind that.
I'm confused.
I thought,
No, that was then, but then they arbitrarily got rid of the setback line, I
He's
guess.
pointing at the wrong.
yeah, okay.
So my house is here, and this is, in truth, if you want to talk about wetlands, this is all wetlands, except for where he wants to build. It's the only place you can build. Really. He actually could build it on the dam, but I think that's even a little bit more precarious. But that's just one person's opinion.
Thank you.
I've seen a lot of floods. I've been through about 15 hurricanes in North Carolina. You can't stop water.
Anybody else? All right.
You didn't want that told, did you?
The next thing we're going to look at is a subdivision plan for McDonald's USA LLC, a minor subdivision plan to show the creation of a .239 acre lot from 2643 West 26th Street, resulting in a residual lot of 1.27 acres. The new lot is to become an integral part of 2640 Zook Road to create a .876 acre lot along the line, the west line of Zook Road, south of West 26th Street in Tract 24. Mike?
Good evening again, Mike Sanford, 4721 Atlantic. I prepared this plan. Basically, Dr. Levin constructed a eye doctor place on Zook Road. It's now owned by Dr. Imbrogno, and he would like some more parking. So he approached McDonald's. They're the property owner behind him, and of course, the McDonald's is there. But there's a grassy area that most people probably don't really know. It's south of the McDonald's parking lot, and it kind of goes up to Westwood Racquet Club. It's a nice rectangular area here that really sits 10, 12 feet higher than McDonald's parking lot, but McDonald's owns it. So Dr. Imbrogno approached McDonald's and said, would you be interested in selling? And they said, sure. It took a little bit longer than that. McDonald's is hard to get a hold of. But they worked out a deal where he could acquire this property, and so this is step one. We'd like to do what I would call a rear lot addition subdivision, that he can acquire the property. I am working on a future land development plan that will come before you for the parking addition. But we're here tonight just doing a rear lot addition subdivision. This would need a depth to width modification. I did submit a letter to that. It's about 3.81 to 1. The requirement's 3, so a little over the requirement. So here asking for approval with the modification.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience have anything to say? All right. Our next subdivision and land development, a land development plan for Westminster Place Partnership, a land development plan to show the construction of a 9.82 square foot office building for professional services north of 2530 Village Common Drive with associated parking and stormwater management facility along the east line of Zook Road, north of Zimmerly in Tract 348. Is anybody here to speak on that?
Again, Mike Sanford, 4721 Atlantic. This is a land development. The property is owned by Westminster Place Partnership. They'd like to construct an office building on the east side of Zook Road. It's a vacant piece of property they've owned for quite some time. So it's a just under 10,000 square foot building, 9,800 or so, be an office building. And so it has the building and the parking. It'll have access to Zook Road. We have our PennDOT permit, have access to Village Common Drive through an easement, so 2 access points. And I've submitted all the stormwater calcs to the township engineer. We're waiting on his review. Of course, we're waiting on the Conservation District as well. Your ordinance has minimum parking and maximum parking requirements. We do exceed the maximum, but we went before zoning hearing board at their last meeting, and they did approve a variance to allow us to exceed the maximum parking. We need that because of the number of employees that are in the building, and we provided that justification to zoning hearing board. So we're here tonight basically requesting approval or recommendation for the land development plan.
Thank you. Anybody to speak?
Since you represented so many people tonight, did you get any kind of a volume discount to this people?
Probably, yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Any comments? All right. What I'd like to do next is on the conditional use applications, we're going to take these all in block. It's the LED signs for all of the schools, and we'd like to do them all in block. Is there somebody here to speak? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, let me clip this here. My name is John Finn. I'm with HHSDR Architects Engineers. I'm here on behalf of the Mill Creek Township School District. With me also tonight is Mr. Aaron O'Toole with the school district to answer any questions you may have on their behalf. Thank you for considering them all as a block. It's much easier to kind of review all of them all at the same time. This is a conditional use request for some electronic message centers to be placed in front of the schools. These would be similar, actually exactly the same as the ones that we brought to you last year for Chestnut Hill and J.S. Wilson, with the exception of now we're going to be placing them at Asbury, Bell Valley, Grandview, Tracy, Walnut Creek, and Westlake Middle Schools. The overall aesthetic, if I can just show you really quickly. The makeup of these signs is going to be the same. In the brand of the sign and the manufacturer of the electronic message center is going to be the same. It's the Daktronics Galaxy GS6. This is also the sign that is in operation right now in front of McDowell Intermediate and McDowell Senior High Schools that the school district is using. Like I said, we're here to ask for your approval for the conditional use at those locations. But just really quickly, these signs will be composed of a masonry base, approximately or about 30 inches high from grade. We'll have a nice stone cap on top of that. From there, we'll have a 5-foot sign above the masonry base that will contain the electronic message center and then a marquee sign at the top. And now all of these are going to replace the existing building marquee signs at the buildings with the exception of one. Asbury Elementary does not have its own identification sign currently, so we are going to be placing one at that site. As far as the conditional use goes, this is something that the school district is very familiar with as far as the operation of the sign and the programming of the sign. So the automatic dimming will be accomplished by the use of the photocell in the sign itself. And the program, the Venus software that accompanies the Daktronics sign is something that programs all of those lighting levels. Excuse me. This can also be accomplished manually and on a timer. So if there is a need to adjust that, there is definitely the capability to do so. No animation, no pyrotechnics. That is not the intent of these signs. There's nothing, no flashing lights. If you were to drive by the one at McDowell Intermediate right now, you would see some advertisements for the school play, announcing ticket prices and things like that. But the overall need for these will be, messages to students and parents, the start of school, things like that, announcement of breaks or announcement of events and things of that nature. Duration of the messages for 8 seconds. This is something that's accomplished within the software of the sign package. Underneath the display, all of those come with a set time limit, so they would set that to the minimum 8-second requirement that's outlined in the section 14588 for the conditional use. Transition, it's another thing they would not have, it would be an automatic pixelization within the 1 second as required. It's not intended to be swiping or anything. There's no animation as a part of the transition aspect of it. The area, items number 5 and 6 within the ordinance, the area of the signs requiring the 32 square feet, that is something we've requested a variance on last week, and it was approved to go to the council last week for all of those locations. Number 7, intensity of contrast of light levels, making sure that we have a uniform picture across. These individual LED arrays that come within the overall sign makeup definitely carry that. These are meant to be static images, balanced images. Logos would be the school district logo or things of that nature that would be a nice, clean image across there. We're not intending to replicate any type of animation or anything like that as part of the display. The sign should not exceed 5,000 nits as a part of the daylighting, which is very important. These signs are actually capable of 64 different light levels. We would program those to the 5,000 nits that's required. They are capable of going higher, but that is not, intended to be the level here, so they would program it down to the level of the ordinance. The operation of the hours, between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., they need to be shut down, and that is something that the school district adheres to and they want to adhere to with this one. With all of these signs, they intend to dim that down at dusk to the 500 nit value that is required for the ordinance, and then 11 p.m. is the cutoff time that those signs need to be turned off, and we've been speaking with the school district, and 9 p.m. is approximately when they would be considering to shut those off and not having the operation. There's really no need to display the information beyond that point in time. Obviously, malfunctioning signs would be turned off until they are repaired. The beauty of this is, since they are all the same sign, they have one service contract, they have one point of contact, they can stock all the same parts for all of their locations, which is a big ease of maintenance to the school district. And then lastly, the signs shall not cause a glare. These signs are built with an actual fin, a horizontal louver within the LED array. That does cut down on the glare that comes into the sign itself, but also the brightness and the intensity and value of the color itself, not necessarily the brightness, but the value of the color is what helps with the glare overall. So, like I said, thank you for hearing our request. Any questions that we can answer, gentlemen?
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience have anything to comment? Come on up to the podium, state your name and address, shoe size.
My name is William Granahan. I live at 7460 Clyde Street here in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was driving over Gore Road in a car that I had just made legal the day before. Milford Police pulled me over and said, oh, I have 15 days to prove that I got my car inspected. And I'd given him the paperwork that said, I just got it legal the day before. My insurance card, registration, driver's license, everything is all real good. I just did the day before. So he said, I have 15 days to come back, which I disagree with, that I have to come back. But that's not why I'm here. It's because I get a citation in the mail for $178. And it's not my professional
Is this
opinion.
pertaining to the signs?
No.
I don't think
This
you're in
is-
the right place.
Yeah, this.
Oh, this is the wrong meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Milford Police are giving out fans.
They're down. the
Sir,
hall.
Sir, if I could, just for your bet, this is the planning commission that just deals with development matters. The Board of Supervisors meets on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That's probably the meeting that you're interested in. Sorry.
I'm still going to notify the township supervisor.
Thank you.
Well, one of them's sitting right next to you.
Anybody else have any comments on the signs?
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Go ahead.
I have a question more than a comment. Brian Martin, 5215 Henderson Road. I live across the street. Gentlemen, hi, Gene. My question is, I've talked to these gentlemen, and I'm satisfied that the sign's appropriate, that it will work within the school. But once the sign is approved, what about Lexington Heights? What about Cider Mill Apartments? What about across the street, Palermo's Brookville Village? Does it set a precedent that everything, because right now they've got the banners with the LED lights on it, and that's all right, you know. Does it set a precedent once one person has a sign on Henderson Road? Is it gonna turn into little Las Vegas with every apartment complex putting up a banner and you can't stop it now because it's been approved? And again, this isn't, it's just a random question.
I have that.
Does anybody know the answer to that?
Yes. regarding electronic message centers, they're permitted as conditional uses in in residential districts, provided it's a non-residential use or a non-conforming use in a residential district. So it'd have to be either a non-residential use, like a school, or like a non-conforming use, maybe like there's a professional office, like a dentist in a neighborhood, they could also have one, but they'd have to go through the same process.
Okay, but it couldn't be vacant, it couldn't be for the apartments themselves.
No, unless it would be a non-conforming use, but if it,
Have to go through this process.
correct.
If I could add, Mr. Martin, this was added in because churches and schools are valid uses in a residential district, but they're not exactly homes, so they do have a need for signage, and so that's the reason they can do it with a conditional use in a residential district, but most others can't.
Yeah, and again, it's not here to complain with the school district, they've been real upfront. I came mostly for the fact-finding of what they were gonna do, and I'm fully satisfied with, with their due diligence and what their plan is. But while I was sitting there, I had that question, and I thought, geez, I might as well ask it. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, at this time, we're going to close the meeting. All issues have been discussed, and we will not, do we need a few minutes break or not? No? We're going to deliberate. You're welcome to stay for this portion of the meeting, but no further discussions or interaction will be accepted. The recommendations of the commission will be available to all concerned parties after 8 a.m. tomorrow by calling the Township Planning and Development Department. Thanks, everybody, for attending.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could we have a sidebar for 1 second? Could you stop back?
Boy, you never got any sidebars, did you?
I had this in my hand the whole time.
All right, let's start out with the best one first. Does anybody have any comments here?
Mr. Chairman, I have to say I'm torn because I, again, drive that area all the time, see kind of the current practice. And so it is a pretty major change to change from having a very significant setback to a theoretically a small one, even if it gets built back further. While on the other hand, I also believe allowing people to have a chance to develop property in a reasonable way. So I don't feel personally I have all the information I need. It's not a debatable motion. I'll make a motion to table, and if there's a second. Motion to table.
Do I have a second? No second. Do I have another motion?
Yes, I believe a person should be able to do with their property whatever they want, providing they do all the required things. And one of the things they cannot do is build on a wetlands, and unless you're out there and see where they're delineated, it's hard to tell where one starts and one stops. So I would recommend that we approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All,
No.
okay. All right, thank you. All right, the motion carries. Ready to move on to the second one here? The McDonald's.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, number 3, or C. Westminster.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're going to do each of these individually, even though they were block. I'd like to have motions for each of these individually. If somebody can give me, we'll start with the 2624 West Sixth Street sign first. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody disapprove? All right, number 2, 53 Henderson Road. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Disapprove? All right, the third one, 4301 Lancaster. A motion?
So moved?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody disapprove? All right, the fourth one is 5875 Steritania. A motion?
And 5901.
Yeah.
Say again?
There's two addresses.
Oh, yes, and 5901, I'm sorry. Thanks, Dave.
So moved?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody disapprove? Okay. And the last one is 4330 Westlake Road. Motion?
So moved?
All right, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, nobody disapproves? That's it. Do we have any old business? No? Communications, new business, committee reports, adjournment? Oh, okay. The listed subdivision and developments and conditional use, if acted upon by the Mill Creek Planning Commission, will be considered by the town supervisors at the regular meeting held on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Other than that, we're adjourned. Right. Funnest part of the whole meeting.
He did.